obviously exciting win for us this past weekend. I thought as a team we played really well, we played complementary football, and I think it's easy when you have a defensive coordinator like Danny, who's obviously top of what he is, and they play lots out on defense right now and give us a lot of opportunities. And I felt like we could have put that game away early with the red zone drives. And it's a little bit frustrating because it's not necessarily like a scheme issue. So I think as a coordinator, you look at every aspect of it, and like, hey, do we have a good plan? Do we have the right people in the right place? And it was a little bit yes. The answer to the question was yes. I just felt like we got down there and it was like two or one guy here or there just trying to do too much, and not doing their job and not trusting their preparation and not trusting the coaching point, and it led to field goals and not touchdowns. I felt like if we finished a touchdown, we probably put that game away pretty early. Now, what I was proud of is the way our kids responded in the second half, because you look at that game and our kids really don't get enough credit. But that all odds are stacked against you. They have 2 weeks to prepare. You're traveling against all across the country playing at 10 a.m. our time. It's just their clock is off. Their groove is off. I mean, everything about it was a little bit off. And you could see early that they did have a plan to stop us, but I thought we made really, really good adjustments in the second half to kind of put them away and especially run the football effectively. So I was really proud of the way our guys responded and how they approached that week. And I think you guys have seen all the videos. I think we do have a really, really special locker room, a special group of kids. You guys just talked to 4 of them that are unbelievable kids, unbelievable teammates, and we're really excited to get back on the field again. I think it's always unique to see what type of team shows up on a Tuesday practice after a big win. When everybody's telling you finally, I think it's the first time everybody's like, hey man, you guys are all right, and how they responded through that is like they just attacked it just like they attacked last week. So I'm excited about where we're at. There's plenty to build on. There's a ton to work on, but I'm excited about the group of kids that we have, and I'm excited that they're finally getting a little bit of respect that they've earned and worked for. So we got to continue to do that. There's no doubt. And we got a major challenge in front of us with Baylor, just because I don't think their record tells the full story. They're one of those teams that, their record says they're average, but then you turn on the tape and there's times where you're like, I don't know how you beat, how do you move the ball on these guys, and they're explosive on offense. So, I know Danny's going to have a great challenge in front of him, and I know he's going to beat the challenge. And him and his guys are going to freaking attack that thing like they always do. But on offense, we got to do a great job of making sure we put us in a position where we're scoring a lot of points, because they're a good football team. And like I said, you turn on the tape, they got a lot of talent. And I don't know what the story is. Like I said, I don't think the record tells it. But we got to be ready for their best. And if we get their best, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a major challenge that we got to attack head on. We got to play physical, big boy football to beat these guys and win the football. So with that, I'll leave it to questions.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start with Justin and then Troy.
So I asked Coach Brennan yesterday about his favorite moment with Noah Fafita, and he brought up the moment where Noah said that he was going to stay. Is there one for you that stands above the rest from your time working with him?
Shoot. I mean, when he threw that touchdown pass on 3rd down, that was a pretty special moment for me, just to see, because I knew there was a couple things. One, game over. It was my mind, game over. And the other part was as soon as he delivered it, honestly, as soon as I saw him line up in the shelf, they were lined up, and I was like, okay, touchdown as long as we protect. And when he delivered it, I thought game over, and then my next thought was, I'm so happy for him. And it's been unique the last couple of weeks because I do love that kid. I love Noah Fafita like a little brother. I truly value him and his family. And it's just so fun to coach him. He's probably my biggest motivation coming to work every single day, because I want to do good for him. I think I spend a lot of time up here trying to create a scheme and a plan every week. Not necessarily, yeah, I want to go win, but I want to put him in a position for him to have a ton of success. Just because I feel like he deserves it and he's earned it. And so these last couple of weeks after the game, even Kansas and Cincinnati, seeing him after the game were pretty special, because I know both of us have kind of been through a lot to get to this point, and it's kind of starting to click a little bit from a team standpoint, everything that we've worked on. So it's just fun to be in those moments with him. But yeah, that touchdown, I know that meant a lot to him, because he's just a street. You guys know him. He's so humble. He's not gonna ever talk about it, but I know that meant something to him, and because he is a competitor, and that was a big time throw and a big time moment with a lot of big time meaning behind it. So it was just fun to be part of his journey.
Troy and then Jason.
Kind of going off the Noah theme, why do you think that he has been so great on the road this season? If you take out the Iowa State game, I think he's completing 77% of his passes, almost 800 yards and 7 touchdowns.
I mean, I think, that's just who he is. I think that I think we're very similar, cut from the same cloth in this way. But when we feel like we're back in the corner, we it's kind of like that's our groove there. I mean, that's where we feel more comfortable, when we feel like we're back in the corner. And I know he feels that way. So he's just an ultimate competitor, and there's a little bit of a different, like when he's on the road. I mean, I don't know in pat and go, I know, oh, it's on. Just by watching him move, his mannerisms, his focus, the way the ball's coming out of his hands. And I remember thinking about that, like watching him warm up at Colorado, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a long night for these boys. And then watching him in Cincinnati, I was like, okay, we're gonna be fine, because one's here to play. And that's just, I mean, he's just the ultimate competitor. And I think that he's gonna take anything that he messes up. I think the Iowa State thing, he probably took it really hard, and he made sure that would never happen again. That's the type of dude he is. He's gonna take accountability for something that he felt like he messed up on, and do everything in his power to make sure it doesn't happen again. And the other thing is, I think we're playing. I think it's just as we're growing as a unit, as growing as a football team, the more we play, the better we are. Obviously when you win, that helps, because that keeps positive momentum going in your direction. But we're still like it's the first year in the system, and the first year with some of the receivers like that he's playing with, that he's having to rely on. So it's just getting in a group with those guys and getting battle tested with those guys, and finally feeling like, okay, you came through, you won a game offensively, at the end you finished the way you wanted to finish. All that stuff, I think, is just positive confidence for him as a quarterback and as a leader of the football team.
Jason and then Michael.
Can you kind of take us through your mentality and approach that 99-yard drive?
Oh yeah. So at first I was pissed at Luke for not catching the punt, but then I think we talk about it all the time. Like, for us to have a mentality on offense, that's at any point in the game, right? So my mentality wasn't like, I think there's goals. There's goals when you're backed up, right? You want to get 2 first downs, so you can flip the field. Like, that's the goal. But our mentality is to go score, right? And so we're in the headset, and I'm telling Miller and Bobby, like, man, get those dudes going. We're about to go 99. And it's fun, because after the game, you're talking to our better players, you're talking to Noah, you're talking to Ked, and they just knew it. They knew it in their mind. They believed, they knew it in their souls that we're going 99, we're going to score. And there were some really special conversion plays on that drive too that made it happen. And so going into it, like I said, initially I was like, Luke, I'm gonna fight you when we get down there. But it made fun. It made fun. It made for a fun story, and it made for a chance to really challenge our mentality as an offense, and to come through like that. And that was a big time, like I said, a big time moment in that game. And I felt like our kids responded in the right way.
Michael and Brian.
You guys ran the ball more in that game than almost any other this season, at least as far as like a close game, not one where you were sort of trying to nurse a lead. Was that just what the defense was giving you, or?
Yeah, both. I think we were, like I said, in the second half, I felt Coach Oglesby and myself, I felt like we did some really good adjustments. I think early in that game, they were moving so much up front, we were getting quite a bit of tackles for losses, some sacks that we had to kind of adjust to. We made some subtle adjustments, and I felt like, man, it went a long way, and the kids did a great job of handling those. That allowed us and allowed me to have confidence in running the football. And I think our 3 running backs are running so violently right now that it's hard for me not to put it in their hands, you know. So, and like I said, that was something I felt like we could do versus that type of scheme, you know, playing a little bit more 12 personnel, which we did, and being able to kind of to run at them. You know, I think that structure of the defense, if you think about it, was kind of built initially. And I'm not saying I think everybody's done adjustments and they've done great. I'm not telling these guys are freaking awesome at what they do. But initially, something like a 3-high safety structure was built for the big trouble and everybody was throwing it to defeat, you know, to limit you can't throw the football. And so, you know, you can get into bigger sets like that and find advantages. And so I felt like we found a couple of advantages, and I felt like our guys did a great job of running through arm tackles and running violently and finishing runs and finishing blocks and honestly playing physical. So we were playing physical, and I wanted to lean on that, and it just happened to be a pretty good balance.
Did the way Chris Hunter blocked on Ked's long run kind of symbolize what you're talking about?
Exactly. And we do, you know, kind of like a highlight tape as a unit every Sunday. Is that pick clips that embody, you know, what our philosophy is and our culture and our red line standard. So that was one, you know, because I thought the conversion that he made, the 35 conversion, where I felt like I told Noah the whole game, if they press us, go after them. If they press us, go after them every single time. And we had worked that throw. I think we worked that play 3 times in the week, and all 3 times we threw the conversion, right? And so that was just awesome to see that he trusted it. It was awesome to see that I think Chris was actually getting held pretty well, but still fighting through it with one and catching one-handed and getting up with a lot of juice, but then having enough focus and discipline to play the next play, and his effort obviously sparked a big-time run and gave us a lot of momentum. So the thing that you don't see, you know, you look at, you see the runner and you see Chris. You didn't see Deuce's great cutoff. Deuce and you didn't see KD. You didn't see Deuce bang back and the nose slanted away and then climb to the second level and cut the linebacker off. I mean, the hole was huge. And so those guys up front did an awesome job, and I'm really proud of them. So obviously, like I said, like it's one game, and there's some positives that we can take from it. Obviously, there's some things we got to get better at, but I was really, really pleased with their effort and how they played that game.
Brian and then Justin.
This will be the 3rd opponent in the past month that just played Utah and just got annihilated by Utah. I know that you've said in the past maybe throw out that tape because it could be a misnomer, but is there something you can take from it that you see, like how defeated that opponent was, but how beat down that like you could take advantage of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch every game, absolutely, because I want to get the feel of the flow of it. How did that happen? Because like I said, you turn on some tape. I mean, turn on the SMU game. They got beat, but they were different, you know. And SMU just hit some explosive plays. I mean, they bobbled a ball, should have been picked, ended up being a 75-yard touchdown. There's just stuff like that goes on. So you want to watch the game to figure out what really happened. And now, for me, I can't really comment on like the mentality of what truly happened in the Utah game. But I do know this. I know Dave Aranda's a really good football coach. And I know they're really talented on defense. And I know we're going to have a major challenge in front of us. So regardless of what happened in Utah, I know they're going to come in here and they're going to be hungry. Because if you think about it, like, you got to put yourself in a position. All right, you're coming to a team where that was picked dead last. They were picked dead last preseason in the preseason rankings. You're coming in. You're fighting for bowl eligibility. There's a lot of smoke around, you know, Baylor's athletics right now. So, I mean, to me, that kind of creates a dangerous football team. You know what I mean? And so I expect to get their best. You know, and it's kind of unique. I actually have some like true relationships there. One of their D linemen, a little cousin of mine. Michael Trigg, the tight end, is a kid I recruited at USC. He's with me at USC and Ole Miss. And then Sawyer Robinson's from Lubbock, Texas. You know, and I got to train him for a couple of times when he was younger. We actually came on a trip to USC. He's a great kid. He's a competitor. So I know those guys are gonna. I know what type of guys those are. The type of guys they have in their locker room. If they're anything like Kyler Jordan and Trigg and Sawyer, you know, they'll be ready to play. So I'm expecting that we're gonna get the best player that they can put on the field.
Justin and Troy.
Well, that being said, Sawyer, what was it like training him, and what do you make of the career that he's carved out?
Yeah, he's such a good guy. I mean, if you were to meet him, talk to him, you would understand why he's had success. He works his tail off. His parents are so awesome. They're very humble people. Very, very, very similar to a Noah. You know, in the sense of he's gonna work. He loves football. He loves his teammates. There's not probably you can't find a whole lot of people that have bad things to say about him. You know, he can get along with anybody, and which is a requirement for a quarterback to take over the locker room. Which, you know, when you have that many talented wide receivers, there's going to be people that are, you know, one of those guys are going to be mad at you too. And when the ball's not final, but I think somehow he's doing a great job of making sure those guys stay together and they're playing well on offense. So it's not surprising that he is. He's, like I said, he's a great kid and he's a big dude. He's got a strong arm, so playing good football right now.
What do you remember about your battles with Baylor at Texas Tech?
Man, I remember turning the ball over, and that's why we lost. You know, and so I think we're going up. This would have been my junior year. So RG3's playing. He gets knocked out. So a kid named Nick Florence comes in, and we're thinking, okay, we're good, because, you know, they were lighting up the scoreboard. Nick ended up putting like 60 on us. I think we put up 50 or 44. It was like something crazy like that, 60 to 44 or something like that.
66-42.
There you go. And but I remember this. No, it's my senior year. This is my senior year. We're going up. We're in the red area, and we're about to go up. I believe 28-7. We're about to end it, and we call for a false start on like the 5. We get backed up, and we call the same play. Well, they end up covering it. So I scramble to my right, and my receiver ends up breaking his route off. He goes to the back corner, and it's one of those things where you feel like there's nobody around you, and he's wide open. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna kind of loft it. Well, I forgot that there's like a 300-pounder chasing me. So when I go to take my ball to disconnect from the ball, this big old arm just tomahawk chops my arm, my fumble, and they go back and score, changes momentum. I mean, my senior year had to go into overtime and lose in overtime. So there's always battles, and there's always high-scoring battles. And so they had some real dudes, and you know, they've done a good job of, you know, obviously rebuilding that place. So I'm excited to play now.
Finish up with Troy.
Just your thoughts on Matthew Lotto. You guys have played him at left tackle when you needed to, right tackle this past week, and just his development and the trust you guys have in him to play both sides.
Yeah, it's very similar to, you know, Tristan. Him just getting a massive amount of reps and continuing to develop into, you know, a guy that we think he can be. And there's been times during the season, because of injuries and because of limitations in practice, that Lotto's had to take almost every single rep at left tackle, you know, on a Tuesday practice or a Wednesday practice. And he's about to die. I mean, he looks like he's drenched, he can barely breathe, and he gets in the huddle and he just keeps attacking. So I'm excited for him, and I think he rose to the occasion pretty well in Kansas when we really needed him, when we challenged him at halftime, knowing that, you know, we were gonna be down tied. We challenged him at halftime and said, hey man, we need you. Show up for us, and he did in a big way. So, you know, obviously we got to get him confident and believing that he can go play a full game. But we're definitely excited about him.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Seth.
Yep.